you kind of teased us with this on Instagram. You just sent Hazel Grace, and you did it pretty quickly, it sounds like. And you teased us with thoughts about going back for the sit. But this is a question from Will. Does Shauna have her eyes on any V15s?
And I don't have a list. That's not true. I have an imaginary list that I need to write down. And I've just been trying to find a project recently because I had a few climbs in mind as projects and I sent them way quicker than I expected.
That must be so exciting.
It is, but it's also a little bit frustrating because I'm like, oh, I was ready for like the next step and now I'm still trying to find it.
Yeah.
But I would love to try Hazel Grace Sit. I believe it still gets 8C, if not the slash grade still, whatever that means. But I did Hazel Grace in these crazy bad conditions. One of the holds was totally wet. Luckily the others were dry. So I missed a hold out and held this like ridiculously terrible intermediate thing instead. And then it just seems so unrealistic to climb it. And when I did climb it, I was able to chalk whilst climbing and it felt chill.
Wow.
I think if I'd have had better conditions, I would have for sure tried the sit there. I have pulled on the sit. I've done the first move and there's one foot move I haven't done. So yeah, if I can get back to it before it snows again, then I really want to. And I'm so motivated for that because it feels like such a good climb that fits me and that motivates me. The hardest thing for me has been finding a climb that fits me as a shorter athlete or a shorter climber and then motivates me as well. That isn't kind of unpleasant or not a proud line or whatever it may be. But I'm ready and excited to invest time and energy into something. And I don't know where my potential lies. I mean, I did Hazel Grace literally the second time I pulled on from the start. So
oh my gosh,
it's kind of crazy to be able to do that. And like Ned's thing that I did recently.
Yeah, we didn't have the boss. We didn't have time to talk about that, but yeah,
that felt so improbable for me to climb, and it's got this wildly like huge slap, like spooky move at the end that like I almost don't believe that I was confident enough to do. And I did that. You know, I went for my session and I'd warmed up at home and I did 2 moves and then pulled on and just did it, and I was like, oh. Like I was ready for the investment of time and energy. And
like your first session on it, you just did a couple moves?
No, sorry. When I went back, it was my second session, I think.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Or third. Like I think I had one session where I could try like one move because the start was wet. And
holy shit.
It was kind of quick. And
you
then
can climb V16 for sure. Not to.
Yeah, I just don't know. That's the thing. I'm excited to explore where I'm at. And it just feels like I haven't found anything that tests me as a climber, as the climber I am right now. But also I did one cycle with Joy and came out feeling like a total badass. And that was like 6 weeks or 8 weeks of training that we did. I'm like, oh, wait, I want to do more. And I have all these physical and mental gains to make still within training. So yeah, there's kind of 2 massive spaces for improvement, it feels like. And I'm excited to explore those and see what's possible. But Hazel Grace Sit is not going to leave my mind, that's for sure. I want to try it. I'm excited. I feel like it's possible, but you never know with these things.
Hey friends, I want to take a second to tell you about my new favorite climbing shoes. I fell in love with these this year. This is the Drone CS from Mad Rock. It's an amazing bouldering shoe. And I actually sent all of my hardest boulders in 2023 wearing the Drone CS. I also just got my first pair of the Drone 2.0. The Drone 2.0 is a huge improvement over the original, in my opinion. It has a lot of the same features as the Drone CS, which I love. It's just a little bit stiffer and more supportive, and you can really toe into small footholds and edge really well with this shoe. I really love both of these shoes, and I think they complement each other really well. If you want to check them out, head over to madrock.com and use code NUGGET at checkout to save 10% off your first order. That's madrock.com. Use code NUGGET to save 10% off your order. All right, Enjoy the rest of the video. To be kind of disconnected from, what we would all recognize outwardly as accomplishments and successes, and to not really care about those, but then to still be so excited about sending a hard boulder like this. Like, it's interesting that you're holding both of those. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely holding both. And of course, I'm connected to grades and progress, and I'm a professional climber. I can't not be. If I want to be a pro climber and be paid to do my job in the sport, you have to accept that grades are part of that and progression is part of that, as well as the side of sharing your story in whatever way that looks like for you. And people do that differently. But just Hazel Grace in particular, I remember seeing a picture of Giuliano after doing the first ascent and being like, that looks incredible. I want to climb it. And just shoving that to the back of my mind like I did with most outdoor boulders. And I've been meaning to write a list of outdoor boulders that I've seen or been psyched for or wanted to go look at or climb my entire life, and I still haven't written this list. I think Ned has one like loosely written for me of things I've mentioned. But
of course he does. That tracks, yeah.
That's very him. I'm not really a list person, and he very much is. So when I was competing, it was like, cool, that boulder looks great, but it's over there for now. And the Olympics took so much focus and dedication and resilience just to get qualified and then stay as healthy as possible for me going towards the games, that there was no capacity for me to allow any energy or thoughts into like what rock climbing might look like. And I always knew, and I've always been kind of explicit with my sponsors and my team, because I had a very strong team going towards the Olympics, that at some point my shift and my focus would go to rock climbing. And I decided that I would be done with comps way before the Olympic Games. And I knew that that would be my last event. I was so ready for it. But then I had Frankie in this little interlude. So yeah, coming back to rock climbing was arduous and intense and hard. And it took a lot of support and dedication from my people. My team looked a little different after the games. And I went from this world where every part of my day was planned. So my manager and my coach would talk to each other and Ned would get involved. And then my schedule would kind of become what it was. And I might get to chop and change it if it worked. But I train and do media and eat and sleep. And, at one point my sister rang me and was like, how are you doing? And I was like, good. Are you okay? She's like, I haven't seen you for 9 months. And I was like, wait, what? Like, how? How has that happened? And it was just so intense. But then to lose all of that overnight was wild. And then to have a baby, which is even wilder, and then start that comeback process, which is what it felt like initially. And it only, in the last few months, I did a post about it actually, I only just recently realized that it wasn't a comeback. I wasn't coming back to anything. I wasn't chasing that Olympic form. I wasn't trying to become a 3-discipline athlete. I didn't need the legs of a speed climber and to be able to do triple dynos and to try and do 3 different disciplines all at the same time. I was coming back to me, and who I was different. Like, becoming a parent changes who you are and how you see the world.